Hey everybody, it's Chainsaw Reacts back once again with another reaction for you guys. Today, guys, of course, we're checking out the newest episode of Young Justice Phantom's Young Justice Season 4. This is Season 4, Episode 9, the start of the Satana arc, titled Odnu, O-D-N-U, exclamation point. However, it's backwards. This is Undo. That's the title of the episode, but they have it spelled backwards. Obviously, Satana. It makes sense in that. Because the episode titles came out, I think, like, at the end of the Artemis arc, like after it aired, I think the same day or the day after they released the 4 episode titles for the Satana arc, which starts today, of course. And everyone noticed immediately that it's all spelled backwards, which is really interesting. It makes sense, though. But I like the fact that it is, even though we can kind of figure it out pretty quickly that it's backwards. But it's kind of cool that the title, they stuck with it being backwards. Because they could have just said, Undo is the title of the episode that starts the arc for Satana. But no, not the case at all. Now, I was thinking about this as well, before we get to anything else. We have 5 episodes remaining, including this one, before the 13 episodes are done for this first half of the season airing on HBO Max. So they've been saying 4 episodes for Zatanna, and we still have another episode left, episode 13, before the end, until it goes on break for a bit for the last 13 to air sometime in spring of next year. What is the 13th episode going to be? Like, what is the 13th episode going to include? Is it a part of another arc, or is it basically a culmination episode, kind of bringing a lot of stuff together that's already been kind of built up with these first 3 arcs? I'm not really sure, but I'm really curious about that. But anyways, so we ended the Artemis arc definitely on a higher, better note than the McGann Superboy arc, especially at the end of it, episode 4, the ending of that arc. Wow, okay. So very different ways of ending those arcs, but I really enjoyed the Artemis arc. It was so well done. And I'm excited for the Satana arc because I feel like what they're trying to do is focus, of course, on smaller, portions of characters in little arcs, which is making sense because if they were trying to incorporate, let's just say, the first 4, 6, 7 episodes or whatever, 8, and they were trying to include all of the McGann Superboy on Mars and then including all the Artemis stuff all in once, encompassing all these episodes instead of separating them out into arcs like they have been, I feel like it would be kind of jarring because we're kind of jumping all over the place in terms of timeline and are all this stuff lining up at the same time and when it's happening, because the Artemis arc, of course, takes place after the McGann Superboy arc. So I feel like this arc thing is really working out for the best, and I'm hoping this continues moving forward in terms of Season 5 if we ever get it. So I'm excited for this Satana arc. I love the character. I love what they've done with the character, even though we haven't seen a lot of her in Young Justice before now in terms of her appearances. But when they have had her a part of the show, it's been impactful. So I'm excited to get into this episode, guys, and start the new arc. Guys, I can't even talk. It's so fucking early in the morning. Anyways, let's get into now, guys, the start of the Satana arc. Undo, backwards, of course. Let's go. Whoa.
Puissant lords of chaos.
No
conflict between good and evil.
Who's speaking right now? Like, who is that?
Unless good is the balance itself.
Oh, wow.
No worries. Speed of Mercury.
That's kind of cool. Oh, shit. Came the Flash. Different ways to capture these little creatures.
Catching 6 troglodytes
Hey.
is bad, but
Okay.
you're all becoming
Oh, shit.
great sentinels of magic. Grew 'em all up. That's enough.
Oh, sorry.
Oops.
No harm done.
You actually wouldn't Superman shirt.
Still
You wouldn't have
relying
actually seen
too
her
much
until
on
that spell, so.
weapons. Magic isn't just about giving or getting meta abilities. Use your imagination when you tap into the Earth's
Imagination.
ley lines or other sources of mystic power. You are my best students.
Oh.
We're your only students.
Oh.
And still
Well,
the best.
still the best. Take a compliment. Wait a minute. Hey, one just left. Oh. Plunge everything into darkness. Makes sense. Oh, it's hitting... Wow. Pretty far radius.
Oh, it's very sweet. Ordered the push from Secretary General
Uh-oh.
to send you an inspector.
Something's going on. Uh-oh.
Clarion village for his spawn. Beings that today would be called metahumans. He discovered his utopia and bet undone.
Oh, shit. Oh. Wow. Back to Beast Boy. I wasn't expecting this. Okay. Still in bed. Oh, shit. There you go.
See, I used to be a superhero called Sergeant. Never mind. I was in the covert team, so you wouldn't have heard of me. But I had the power, or a third of the power anyway, of Shazam!
Oh.
What happened?
I was just a kid. I wasn't ready for
Okay.
power back then. I had to give it up.
Oh. Okay. Nice transition. To the flashback.
Vandar attacked this new foe. This Clarion was something new. Or, despite appearances, something incredibly old. Something
Yeah, incredibly old.
Fundamental.
Star of Atlantis. Oh. Okay.
There. You look absolutely darling.
What you doing in here?
It's not a kid.
And what is that?
Yeah.
Hey, stop there. Stop right there. Don't shoot.
Yeah, it ain't gonna do nothing. Oh, now he's upset. Jesus.
I wonder what these things look like on the inside.
Jesus Christ. That's dark.
Should I be worried?
No, man.
Yeah,
I'm
I think you
just
should be
tired,
worried.
Tom. But sorry,
He
I'll
just-
get on the chores thing. Got you covered.
Will you? Oh, wow, they traveled.
We enter through the Harlem door. Madame Xanadu's parlor is actually in New Orleans, but
Interesting.
doors the world over.
Okay.
All leading here.
I love magic. I just love that they're doing this arc in here, you know what I'm saying, in the show. It's really cool.
Whoops. Please be careful, Z. I haven't felt a chaotic energy like that in this lifetime.
So basically saying this is a threat that you maybe you're not prepared for. Oh my god.
Clarion killed Vandar in 300 different ways.
Jesus Christ. And he kept coming back.
Vandar rose again. Meet me right back here in this village called Atlantis.
Atlantis. Interesting.
What did you do?
Actually, Clarion didn't do it.
I know we shouldn't have stopped to torture those
I love the
birds,
voice for him.
but it seemed like a fun idea.
What do we do? Pull your energies into me.
Oh shit. Oh shit. Sleep pills. Man. Something's got to get him out of this funk, you know what I'm saying? Oh! That was awesome. Deflecting it back. Nice. Good save. Okay, so he knows who that is.
Yet in that moment, a bond was forged. Come now, stranger. Why do you tell me what I already know?
Who's this?
To remind you
Oh.
of what must not be forgotten. For once, say what you came here to say.
Oh. Who was that? This show blows my freaking mind. Holy crap. This episode covered so much. It's kind of overwhelming, but at the same time, I loved it. I couldn't get enough of it. And when it ended, I'm like, no, don't end there. But of course they do. My God. I was wondering throughout the entire episode who the voice was. Who was talking about the balance and the birth of this universe, 16, 15 billion years old, whatever. I think it said 16 billion years old. It makes sense because Earth's 16. But just who's talking? Who's telling the backstory here between Clarion and, of course, Vandal Savage when he first arrives on Earth? Who is talking? And then we see at the end there, and I'm like, who is this character? So I looked it up because I'm like, I got to find out who this person is. It's the Phantom Stranger. it makes so much more sense now. It's the fan. It just didn't click at the time. I'm like, who is this? What the hell? Like, literally, Vandal Savage has met so many fucking different villains at different points in the timeline. Like, he literally knows everybody. Or he's going to end up knowing everybody in terms of different power sets. I mean, literally, they ended season 2 with him shaking hands with Darkseid. And now he's met the Phantom Stranger in season 4. Like, how many more things is he going to go through? But then again, they make a point to prove in the flashback that Phantom Stranger is kind of narrating that Clarion, is how you pronounce his name, Clarion? Well, I think it's how you pronounce it. But anyways, the Demon Boy killed Vandal Savage 300 different ways and still survived, and he was intrigued. He's like, And then come to find out that where Vandal Savage landed on Earth, and of course he had a different name back then, but he's Vandal Savage, but he basically has his whole family in the birthing of metahumans, and they're all killed, and basically it's Atlantis, whatever. And butchered that probably. It's been a morning. But anyways, so then we see the child, the gem that floats out from the balance. Of course, it's a part of the chaos and all that kind of stuff. It floats down, creates this whole entire shockwave, if you will, that Clarion notices immediately, and he exits out of the Lights conversation or whatever. They're all having a discussion about metahumans going to Markovia, all that kind of stuff, and they're all listening, and then he exits out. He's like, oh crap, because he notices something. Well, then the child creates Flaw from the Star of Atlantis, and it has to tie into Vandal Savage. It makes sense because he just said Atlantis in terms of that's where he wants Clarion to meet him back in 1,000 years at the time when they had this battle back then. So it all ties in with that. And then, of course, the child, I think, is trying to summon Clarion, waiting for him to show up. And then he shows up at the end, of course, and then it cuts to, of course, Vandal Savage talking to the Phantom Stranger, all that, and then it cuts to credits. I'm like, no. And then we have the freaking Legion in the credits. So I'm guessing they'll have to tie in something because we hear them talking, but listening to Beast Boy or whatever on their phone. So, and we had Beast Boy in this episode as well. So we had a lot of stuff to cover. But so it seems like the child, I guess, first of all, wants to know about human anatomy and wants to do a lesson on figure out what do we look like on the inside. And I feel bad for that guard. He was completely destroyed, and she was just like looking at everything. We didn't obviously see her like looking at everything, but they found the aftermath. Zatanna and her proteges, her students. That's pretty interesting. So she's teaching different, and we open with that. We open with them actually putting these little creatures in boxes in different ways and using magic, and then of course we go on from there. So it's not just her and her arc. It's essentially her and her students kind of going on this, I guess, adventure that it doesn't look like it's going to end well. It doesn't end well at all. So they have all that go down, and they discover the officer, and then Clarion shows up, and then Zatanna and Clarion yell at each other, "What did you do?" Because Clarion thinks, did you bring forth somebody from, the chaos dimension or whatever apart? Because like now with the child now on Earth, does that imply that the balance is off now? Because we see the weight, the scale of the balance. Because the Phantom Stranger throughout the monologue said about the balance. So is the balance going to be offset now? I'm guessing it will be. Because, when that shockwave initially went through when the diamond of the child before had a mortal connection to the planet to basically take form of the child, it created that shockwave, and then you see where Dr. Fate notices it. And Dr. Fate's in the promo art too, so I think he's going to be a part of this. He has to be, I feel like, it's going to be probably more intense because I forget how they pronounce him, Madame Zand something. I'm sorry, I'm bad with names, don't kill me. I always am bad with names. But she made a point after figuring out like where the connection was in terms of the last location of where this, where this like energy or whatever is coming from. She says to Zatanna, like, look, I don't think you're prepared for this. Be careful. I've never felt something like this in my lifetime, implying this is not going to end well. And I'm curious to see if why they're showing Beast Boy and him still kind of dealing with the effects of Connor's death, if that's going to tie into this. I don't know, because I thought when they were showing him during the Artemis, because it was during the Artemis arc, they were showing him. Yeah, they were. Yeah, because I was trying to think. They were showing him afterwards. Like, like, I thought Beast Boy maybe was going to tie into the Artemis arc, but somehow Beast Boy was going to tie in, but he didn't. So maybe he's going to get out of the funk in episode 13, the one I was discussing about what that's going to be in episode 13. What is going to be the one episode that's not part of an arc per se, or maybe it is. But you get my point. I don't know. Like, it was so crazy to see the magic. It was really cool to see the magic as well, and kind of seeing her different students and kind of seeing a little bit of their backstory, kind of, especially with Sergeant, what's her name, Mary, I think, and I think she was 1/3 Shazam. I think, yeah, it's like, that was kind of interesting to hear that information. Like, oh, okay, and then just kind of seeing them all use their, like, using different abilities and how they approach magic differently, of course, with capturing those creatures, but also kind of trying to stop Clarion during that fight, which was a really good fight, by the way. Them actually helping Zatanna at a point, and then her actually grabbing his energy and throwing it back at him, at Clarion, and he slammed against the wall. Because I think she's like, power of Hercules or something. I think she said Hercules, I'm not sure. But she says something. She punches him in the fucking face, and he went flying, slamming into the wall, and he, like, melts to the floor. I don't know. It's like little things like that. It's just awesome. Now, I'm assuming with Clarion seemingly annoyed and probably going to be overwhelmed, probably doesn't know how to handle fighting the child, maybe they're setting up Clarion is actually going to be on the good side in this, to where he doesn't want the child at all involved in Earth matters, and basically needs to go back up to the balance of the chaos and the light and all that kind of stuff. Like, I'm guessing that's probably what's going to be implying here. And maybe the Phantom Stranger's meeting with Vandal Savage is implying something deeper maybe going on than we're unaware of. I'm not really sure, but I just love how they opened this arc with how they're giving us a lot of information about the birth of the universe, and then going into Vandal Savage landing on Earth for the first time, creating within his Atlantis the birthing of metahumans and how it was all destroyed, and Clarion is to blame, and now how they're working together in a sense, a part of the light and all that kind of stuff. And then going further into that about how Clarion is bothered by this other entity that's a part of basically the chaos that he's a part of. So I don't know. There's a lot of things. Like, this is why I love the show, because we're covering so many different styles of storytelling and so many different types of storytelling. That's why I love the show, because it's so well done in terms of doing all that. So I'm excited. I love the show. It's crazy, and this was a crazy, crazy episode to start off the Zatanna's arc. And just overall, the show's fantastic. They've covered so much stuff, and the fact that they're finding new things to surprise us with. I mean, we're 4 seasons in. At a point, you would think maybe they'll start running out of storytelling, but they're introducing us to new characters. They're also introducing or reintroducing old characters we haven't seen in a bit, or they haven't had a lot of screen time. Now they can get more of a story within the universe, because Zatanna, like I was saying before, has been in the show throughout Young Justice, but hasn't really had a lot of screen time, a lot of interaction with other characters, and just basically hasn't had a lot of story going on compared to others. So the fact that she has her own arc, and then we have her teaching students, and how we're introducing that Madam character, we have the child, we have Flaw, and we see the first time Vandal Savage landed on Earth and him fighting Clarion, like seeing all this stuff, and then Phantom Stranger at the end with meeting Vandal Savage, just like all this stuff. It's just refreshing, and it makes the show feel good, and it makes me happy that the show is continuing to find new ways, new characters, and just overall a great way to tell new stories that we weren't prepared for. It's like, oh, we didn't see this coming, and it's exciting. It's why we need a season 5. We need more. We need the show to continue for a long ass time. So please support the hell out of this show. What'd you guys think of the first episode of Zatanna's arc? Undo, of course, backwards. But what'd you think of it, guys? I'm curious to know your thoughts. Whatever thoughts you have, guys, let me know in the comments below. Hope you guys enjoyed the reaction. I will talk to you guys soon. Peace out.